Today is Friday, July 10th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are on Bill's story. We are on actual page numbers, and we are finishing up page 1 today. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on step 1. We'll read page 22. And of course, we'll read Just for Today and Courage to Change. So with that, hope you all are doing well this morning, my friends. Life is good over here. It is Friday. We made it another week. I got a really, really strong cup of coffee this morning. My goodness, it's put more hair on my chest. But so grateful to be sober. Woke up today and not only did I pray, but based on a couple days ago's reading, I tried my best to listen, to be still and just meditate on what I just read and try to listen and ask how my life can fit in my higher power's will. So, and I already feel better. I already feel more at peace. Go figure, right? What a blessing. But with that, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So if you recall from yesterday's reading out of the Big Book, Bill's story here, it's pretty powerful. I mean, it gets right to the point. I thought it was really interesting, and I don't think I caught it the last few times we've read it, but at the top of page 1 where it says, I was part of life at last. That tells me a lot right there. That maybe he felt like he was an outsider for a long, long time. And I forgot the strong warnings and the prejudices of my people concerning drink. I wonder who warned him about that. And I wonder if it was in the family. I need to do a little bit more research about that. Oh, and he swings by a doggerel by Winchester Cathedral. And a doggerel is just a short poem or a short, often funny verse and talking about somebody who died by a brewed pot of beer. So, we're on the last paragraph. 22 and a Verdun foreign wars, I went home at last. I fancied myself a leader, for had not the men of my battery given me a special token of appreciation? My talent for leadership, I imagined, would place me at the head of vast enterprises, which I would manage with the utmost assurance. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on step 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. And yesterday we had a pretty powerful breakdown of the obsession of the mind and the allergy, the insanity and the allergy. And it's great because it kind of falls in line exactly with the doctor's opinion that we just recently read on page 22 when it says, our sponsors declare that we were victims of a mental obsession so subtly powerful that no amount of human willpower could break it. So there's that insanity, that mental obsession, right? That talks us into the first drink. Where it says right here, a little further down, then by the allergy of the body that ensured that we would ultimately destroy ourselves in the process. And this is a powerful, powerful twofold disease, with the mental obsession or insanity part of it, the mental part of it, and then the physical craving, the physical allergy. So for alcoholics, oftentimes, if not always, willpower is not enough. So what do we do? And that kind of goes back to what Dr. Silkworth was saying, that we need a psychic change. So we are going to build on this idea on page 22, bottom of the page. In AA's pioneering time, none but the most desperate cases could swallow and digest this unpalatable truth. Even these last gaspers often had difficulty in realizing how hopeless they actually were. But a few did. And when these laid hold of AA principles with all the fervor with which the drowning sees life preservers, they almost invariably got well. That is why the first edition of the book, Alcoholics Anonymous, published when our membership was small, it dealt with low-bottom cases only. Many less desperate alcoholics tried AA, but did not succeed because they could not make the admission of hopelessness. It is a tremendous satisfaction to record that in the following years, this changed. Alcoholics who still had their health, their families, their jobs, and even 2 cars in the garage began to recognize their alcoholism. As this trend grew, they were joined by young people who were scarcely more than potential alcoholics. They were spared that last 10 or 15 years of literal hell that the rest of us had gone through. Since step 1 requires an admission that our lives had become unmanageable, how could such people as these take this step? And we will find out the answer to that question tomorrow. NA just for today, July 10th. A positive attitude. That old nest of negativism followed me everywhere I went. Basic text 137. A negative attitude is a trademark of active addiction. Everything that occurred in our lives was someone or something else's fault. We had blaming others for our shortcomings down to a fine science. In recovery, one of the first things we strive to develop is a new attitude. We find that life goes a lot easier when we replace our negative thinking with positive principles. While negative attitude dogged us in our active addiction, all too often it can follow us into the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. How can we begin to adjust our attitudes? By altering our actions. It isn't easy, but it can be done. We can start by listening to the way we talk. Before we open our mouths, we ask ourselves some simple questions. Does what I'm going to say speak to the problem or the solution? Is what I'm going to say framed in a kind manner? Is what I have to say important? Or would everyone be just as well off if I kept my mouth shut? Am I talking just to hear myself talk? Or is there some purpose to my words of wisdom? Our attitudes are expressed in our actions. Often, it's not what we say, but the way we say it that really matters. As we learn to speak in a more positive manner, we will notice our attitudes improving as well. Just for today, I want to be free of negativity. Today, I will speak and act positively. Courage to Change, July 10th. As a result of our exposure to alcoholism, many of us lose perspective on who we are and what we can and cannot do. We accept ideas about our own limitations that have no basis in reality. Al-Anon helps us to sort out the truth from the falsehoods by encouraging us to take a fresh, objective look at ourselves. I had always been told that I had a weak constitution and had to avoid excitement or overexertion. I avoided exercise, sports, certain jobs, and even dancing, sure that my poor weak body just couldn't handle the strain. My most frequent response to any invitation was, I can't. In Al-Anon, I realized that I had a distorted self-image. I had never thought to question my beliefs. But when I took a good look, I discovered that they were untrue. I am as fit as anyone I know. I began to wonder how many other false assumptions were limiting me. A whole new way of life opened up because I had the support and encouragement to take a fresh look at myself. Today's reminder: I won't let old, limiting ideas and doubts go unchallenged. I may discover strengths and talents that never had the chance to come to light. Today, by letting go of obsolete ideas, I have an opportunity to learn something wonderful about myself. Quote from Richard Bach: argue for your limitations, and sure enough, they're yours. All right, my friends. Gosh, I love that last reading from Al-Anon, the Courage to Change. Putting limits on ourselves. I've done that. Prime example of that is I would always say, I stink at math. That's not true. Because I actually really love math when I understand it. It just takes me a little bit longer to get it, but I can get it. It's not that I'm bad at it. I just maybe don't catch on as quick as others right off the bat. But maybe if I practiced it a lot more, if I studied it a lot more, perhaps I could. Or if I say, oh no, I can't run 10 miles. Well, what if I trained for it? And if I really set my mind to it and kept working at it? Who knows? A lot of times I said I can't do things, and it's like that old quote, if you believe you can or if you believe you can't, you're right. It's a mindset. And a lot of times I put a governor on myself going, I'm not capable of doing that. But I've learned through experience and recovery that there's a lot of things that I thought I couldn't do, that when I prayed about these things and they were in line with my higher power's will, I could do them. Like, I didn't think I'd ever be able to stop beating myself up. I thought I'd have to live this way, just constantly hating the man I saw in the mirror, because I had done it ever since I was a kid. I felt like there was something wrong with me. That's not in line with what my higher power says. In another book I read, it says that I'm loved. I'm a cherished son. So who am I to hate the person that I see? So when I started praying and working the steps, eventually I began to look in the mirror and not hate the man that I see. Instead, I just see another human being that's no better or worse than anybody else. So who am I to put limits on myself? I think anything's possible with my higher power. And it kind of leads into the Just for Today reading, which I thought was so powerful. Talking about mindset, positive mindset. I love what it says right here. We find that life goes a lot easier when we replace our negative thinking with positive principles. And then a little further on, how can we begin to adjust our attitudes? I love this. It's not going, okay, I'm going to have a positive thought right now. I'm going to have a positive thought. Right here, by altering our actions. Kind of goes back to what we've always talked about, that a lot of times we act our way into the right thinking. We turn to our training when we're feeling a little off. And what's my training? For me, it's the steps. What's going on in my soul? Am I taking care of my spiritual health today? Or am I relying on yesterday's meeting or last week's meeting or yesterday's prayers? Whatever. I could act my way into the right thinking. Action precedes the thought. Real quick example, and I think I've shared this many times before, but there was a point in time early on in my recovery that I felt like I was on shaky ground. I was anxious, and I didn't realize how close to probably a drink I was. But I knew, based on all the training and the head full of AA and recovery, I knew that I shouldn't isolate. So eventually I called a friend in recovery. That was the action, right? I decided, okay, I don't feel right. Let me go ahead and call somebody. Long story short, after that phone call, after that action, all the fear and the anxiety melted away. And I was okay. And honestly, we never talked about my issues or anything. We ended up talking about our dogs. But the action itself changed my mindset. Acting my way into the right thinking. Great stuff. But my friends, that's all we have time for today. Please know, as always, I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon. I am just a joyful, grateful, recovering alcoholic, honored to be here another day. And if we're given another set of 24 hours, my friends, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.